Good
morning, everyone. This is Stephen Boulden at 12.3. Thank you once again for joining me on another Tuesday morning ACT Virtual User Group session. Today I want to talk about a topic for what's going to be on the timeline for ACT in the near future. And today's session is probably going to be a shorter one, really only a few minutes, and I want to talk about the upcoming release of 18.2. So one of the big updates going to be coming out on July 21st is 18.2. And this is the latest update to ACT for all versions. This update will be coming out to Pro, Premium, and to all other ACT users. And they have a release sheet of the 30 defects that have been fixed in 18.2. It's a free update. I'm going to talk about these defects in just a moment here. This is a free update to anybody that's currently on a subscription plan or has version 18 already. If you already have ACT version 18 or 18.1 on your computer, you will be able to download and upgrade to 18.2 as soon as it's released. You can check your ACT version at any time by going into ACT, going up to Help, and About ACT. And it will tell you right in the top line what version of ACT you're using, 18.1 in this case. So when the updates come out, they are an executable file, a .exe, and it's pretty easy to go around to every computer. You need to download the update and run it on every machine that's using ACT if you do choose to upgrade. You always have to plan these very carefully because you do need every computer to upgrade at the same time. So if you do choose to jump on the new release, we would really like to help coordinate when you can have everybody available. You want to run the update on the server and then run the update on everybody else's machines, and it's really as easy as that. The first time you go to open the database, you'll get a prompt saying that ACT would like to update the database to 18.2. You follow yes. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. It always has in my experience, so I'll keep knocking on wood for more of the same. So to talk about what's fixed in 18.2, this is an update that you really don't have to jump right on right away, that being said. I do have an Excel spreadsheet here. They've released their defect list for those of you that really are into these kind of patch notes. And there are 30 different items that have been closed in 18.2 amongst various fixes. Most of these, about 18 of them, involve the ACT for Web version. Various UI experience issues, things where those of you that are using ACT Premium for Web, where you log into your ACT database through the server or an IP address, and you're using it through a web browser. Various glitches that happen in browsers, like being bumped back to the login screen, different buttons that don't always bring the right pop-ups. It looks like they've closed out about 18 known issues there. And then there's only a few more things on the actual desktop application side where they were fixing some different installation and update tickets. These are errors that can occur during the ACT installer, and if you've already got ACT installed on your computer, that might not be so relevant to you to have it fixed retroactively. But it is good that they are always developing and always working on improving the platform. And that being said, there's nothing in here that really looks like a new feature, a new bell or whistle or something really compelling that you'd want to get on right away. So for those of you that want to avoid having to get everybody together and roll out a big ACT update and maybe walking around that potential point of failure, maybe you can skip this one. But it is nice to see that ACT is putting resources into fixing new versions, always ongoing development. So again, that will be released on July 21st. Look for an email from us. I'll be typing up in the email and sending it out where they can download these. So that you can go through them. So in terms of what they are really pushing over there at Swiftpage when they're working on ACT is this web API integration. And all of the partner meetings that we've been attending lately, they are very excited about this web API. We're still waiting to see some real stuff get developed for it. The web API was an add-on feature that was introduced along with version 18. A web API is an extra component that can go on your ACT server that will allow different web-based applications to talk with your ACT database directly. over the internet, essentially, without having to be, without having Act open and different triggers like this. So some examples of API integrations. There's a company called Zapier. They're an online service that makes hundreds of thousands of different triggers that can go between API applications. For example, there are popular apps for a lot of platforms like SurveyMonkey. If maybe you want somebody to an event to happen when somebody fills out a new SurveyMonkey response, Act has added a Zapier integration with their new API so that you can add a new contact automatically if somebody fills out a SurveyMonkey response. Currently, they've only got 8 Zaps made, and this is something that's still in development for them, and so it's good to look at this and wonder if you're getting interested. Again, this is another thing that I want to encourage you to hold off until we're sure that they have all the bugs worked out and that it's kind of matured a bit more, because this is all still new to us. But they do have a lot of their development team working on this API, and Zapier in particular. So this service has some other features that they've already got live. Things like creating Act contacts from Google Contacts, get Slack notifications for new Act contacts, or add new Act contacts from QuickBooks Online customers. So if any of you are QuickBooks Online users, perhaps this might be one that you're interested in. Or add new Act contacts from new PayPal sales. So this is still in its infancy stages, but we are excited about where we're seeing this going with the web API. They have some talk. Another API service is Microsoft Office 365. I know a lot of you out there are using Office 365 and particularly Outlook for web. And this is something that's possible for them to do, and we're getting a lot of reports that they are working on it. And so I have soon in parentheses next to here. But it will be nice if we can get Act integration with Outlook for web. You know, not to get too excited or jump the gun on anything, but that could be a beautiful way in the future of recording Outlook emails and synchronizing Outlook calendars and contacts without having the local integration running, so that it can happen at the web and server level instead of on an individual computer's level. It would be a great blessing if one day the Act and Outlook integration errors that some users seem to really experience heavily on their computer, if those could all be finally put to rest and have the web API handle it in a more stable format. We will wait and see. On the Swiftpage side of things, they're really excited. They announced that they're expanding their research and development team. They're expanding their support team. For those of you that are on an Act subscription, you know that you're getting free unlimited support through Swiftpage. I know that in their first few months of release, they have been suffering from terribly long hold times. I'm a victim of it myself, having had to call Act numerous times and waiting on hold for an unreasonably long amount of time. But fortunately, they're relocating their support facilities back over from Chennai back into Scottsdale, Arizona, and they are moving a lot of their support team domestically to relocate over here in the stateside. And so they are improving their support side of things, and I can say from my own experience, I have gotten to experience this. In the recent few weeks that I've called support, it has been much more prompt and better service that we're getting through there. And one thing that stood out to me amongst their hiring reports they put out, not only are they bringing on new support agents, but on the programming side, they've hired 2 new dedicated Outlook developers. These 2 new personnel are going to be solely responsible for helping develop this Office 365 web API integration and also stabilizing the Act and Outlook integration, which, to give them credit, they did fix very strongly in the latest 18.0 update. It works now with Act integrating with all the way up through Office 2016 and all prior versions, and it's the most stable it's ever been, and it does hold on well, but I do know that there are some folks out there who are still experiencing issues. It's good to know that they've hired 2 new people to really focus on one issue, so I'm glad that it's on their radar and that something's getting done. Eventually, enough voices speak out and things are heard and like to be taken care of. Moving on, they do have another product that it's really been around for 2 years now in its current form, although it's gone through a lot of different changes. And I just wanted to address this because you're probably going to start getting even more notices from Swiftpage directly about this. It's a product called Act Essentials, and they formerly and very confusingly used to call this Act Cloud. I want to emphasize that this is not Act. It is not the desktop version of Act that you may be used to, or even the web version. It is a separate product called Act Essentials. It's all web-based. It's a subscription pricing model that's really geared towards ultra lightweight CRM users that really want nothing more than an address book. It can include some e-marketing features with it, not a whole lot in the way of customization or custom fields, notes, and histories. I find it to be a limited product in its current stage, and Act is still really pushing forward with it. We will wait and see because, again, still a newer offering, and we hear a lot about how they are putting a lot more resources into this Act Essentials product, and it seems like it's coming along and making some progress. So I would like to see where this product is a year from now, but for now, I'm putting this here as a notice to you that if you get any emails about Act Cloud or Act Essentials, especially if you already have Act, that you can really safely ignore them. I don't see any incentive to switch over at this time. The last thing to really address here, we still don't know too much about Act v19, except that they have it flagged for a November release date, although I think that's a little bit silly because we don't know a whole lot about what's planned for it yet. And so I wonder if they're really going to try releasing, come heck or high water, that they're just going to throw out a version. I doubt that they would. They usually, they would rather wait till it's ready. So they have a November target for a new version of Act to be released, but because we don't quite know what's in it yet, I could foresee that being pushed back a bit. But one thing that we do know is Pro v19 looks like it is still happening. That's not a guarantee. There was very strong hints at the time that version 18 was coming out, that version 18 Pro would be the last one that they would release. They've done a good job at trying to retire the Pro product. Their vision with the whole subscription and maintenance plan is that there will be one version of Act Premium that everybody is on. The subscription and maintenance gives you free updates. It gives you Act Premium, and it would be much more convenient for them as a company if the whole world was unified on one stable version of Act. They could just focus all their talent on one version of Act and not have this Pro and Premium different products floating around out there. They really want it all unified. And so Pro has kind of been quiet. They don't really promote it very much. It certainly is still out there, and the market for Act Pro is tremendous, so I can't really see that they would cut it out anytime soon, despite the fact that they are trying. But from what I can tell on the horizon, Pro v19 looks like it's still a go. Can't make any guarantees that they won't change that, but that's good news. That being said, and I still haven't changed my tune on this, one of the things that I saw as a necessity to upgrade to Act version 18 was, for many people, your hand was kind of forced by the Windows 10 update. Version 18, the biggest change that it brought to the table was Windows 10 compatibility and Microsoft Office 2016 compatibility. And those are two major software releases that kind of forced everybody else to upgrade their Act as well to follow suit. But now that we've kind of suffered through all that wonderful update over the last year to Windows 10, and everybody has Act version 18 now that's working for them, I don't know what version 19 will bring to the table yet, but I'm not sure if it will be an update that's going to really force your hand in the same way that version 18 did. Microsoft's just got some major updates out of the way. They probably will not release a Windows 11, so to speak, for 3 years. As a side note, not to get sidetracked, there's murmurs that Windows 10 may be Microsoft's not final release, but they're just going to continue to go the way kind of like Mac OS X did, where they just release updates to Windows 10 ongoing instead of new overhauls to a newer, entirely new different version of Windows. But that being said, Microsoft just got their big releases out of the way. Act version 18 is working with it. When version 19 comes out, we're excited to see what it could contain. I think it's going to be a lot more in the ways of these web API integration. Act Premium for Web seems to be the bigger focus of their development team at the time. They want to fix all of the issues for users on mobile phones and iPhones who are having trouble browsing the web version. and they want to make it easier for all these sync applications like Office integration to go through the web API instead of doing them on the local desktop version. It is a more efficient way of handling it. Kind of silently last week, Act Pro raised in price. They threw a $50 increase on there from $199 back up to $249. I wonder in part if this is part of their efforts to try to kind of retire Pro, but it's not an unreasonable price range in my opinion, because this is the historical price of Pro for at least the past 12 years. Act Pro was $249, and it was only at the release of version 18.0 that they dropped it down to $199. And I'm not quite sure what the motivation behind the price drop and then raise again was, but I'm pretty sure the motivation is the dollar sign here. But it is a good, stable product that they have, and it's we're glad to see that they're still putting efforts into it. So that's really about where I'd like to wrap up today. I don't have a whole lot more about news and juicy details we can spill for you. For those of you that want to talk about a version 18.2 update, particularly those of you that have been thinking about maybe updating to 18.1, maybe if you're still on 18.0, this update would be very worthwhile to you because it includes 2 packages with it. And there was a lot that was fixed in 18.1 as well. That one had 120 different defects on the web version. But yeah, we can get in touch and talk about scheduling a time to do this. I'll open the chat for any questions. Okay, well, this session is being recorded, and we will upload it into YouTube later today. Keep an eye out for our email later this week for those of you that want to jump on the 18.2 update. I think it will be a great version for making sure that your app stays stable. Thank you for joining again, and have a great day. Bye now.